want us to read you something?
Sure.
Yeah?
I can use a blessing before I leave.
Yeah? Give me First Peter's, man. First Peter's 2. So what you think about the flyer?
Really deep inside, turn it on to my other brothers, man. Brothers and sisters.
They ain't want to hear none of that.
All I can do is give it to you. Simply do it for yourself. Can't say you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Let me read something to you, man.
It's the book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation.
Hey, man, so when you looked at that flyer and you said, okay, I'm a children of Israel, right? You say, okay, shoot, I might be Jew, right? That was you actually realizing you are that chosen generation that's spoken about in the Bible, right?
A royal priesthood.
And you come from a lineage of the priests, right? Especially if you are the seed of Aaron, right? You will be a direct lineage of the priests, right? Agree?
And holy nation.
And a holy nation. When you go into the word holy, it means separate or set apart, right? Meaning we not supposed to be out here acting like everybody else. We're not supposed to be out here acting like so-called white man, Chinese man. We're supposed to be doing it, right? The simple fact that we have done that so long, that's why we're in the predicament that we're in, right? We look at our people, we're down bad as a nation, man. Not just us, but our Hispanic brothers, our Native American brothers. Native American brothers, they're on reservations strung out right now. Strung out. Yeah, strung out. Alcoholics, all that, man. It's bad up there, right? And when you go down to Mexico, it ain't that much better either. You don't have all of this. It's horrible, right? Because we chose not to be that holy nation, not to be that separate nation, right? Give me Deuteronomy 4:6.
It's a peculiar people.
A peculiar, meaning we special, right?
That ye should show forth the praise of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to go forth, you know, man. We're supposed to go forth and actually show people the true God through us and through our actions. Because people don't know God, man. People claim to know God all day long, bro. But when you actually look at his Bible and you analyze what he said and what he wants you to do, they don't know him, right? You know?
Which in time past were not a people.
And that's what we were at, right? All this time it wasn't a people, it was a color. Black, African American, Negro, nigga, colored. They ain't a people, they ain't a nation, right? That's bywords and proverbs, right? Read it.
Which had not obtained mercy and now have obtained mercy.
Before we ain't have mercy, right? We was on punishment, like a father, right? You got a bad little kid. You tell him, hey son, don't do that. Keeps on. Hey son, don't do that. Keeps on. Hey son, you do it again, I'm whoop him. He does it again. What you gonna do? You gonna whoop him, right? But eventually you gonna have a little mercy on him because that's your son. You're like, all right, son, you done learn your lesson. All right, come back in the house, right? It's the same with our heavenly Father. Read what you got.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me that ye should go. It's like he says, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
So this is Moses telling us, hey, listen, the Most High said he's giving us laws, he's giving us statutes, giving us commandments to be that top nation, right? Read.
Keep therefore and do them,
He said, keep therefore and do them, right?
for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nation.
In the sight of everybody. That's what we were supposed to be, right? Give me we were supposed to be there, right? We were supposed to, nations were supposed to look at us, the so-called black man, the so-called Hispanic man, the so-called Native American man, and be like, man, listen, them some wise people right there. Let us follow them. Let us do what they do instead of the reverse, right? For sure.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
It's a wise and understanding people. The problem is, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. And because we didn't do that, there's a consequence for that, right? Give me verse 1.
It's Deuteronomy 28 and 1.
Yeah. These are the terms, conditions the Most High put on our people, right? Read.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
Now listen, man, you listen to me. You just do what I tell you to do. Read.
to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee high above all nations,
listen to me, I'm gonna put you on how all the nations live. That's what the Creator, the one who made every single thing here, told our people. But our people didn't listen, right? Our people didn't listen. Because they didn't listen, there was a consequence for it, right? The same as a father with a son. Your son don't listen, hey, you gotta get one. Not because you don't love him, but because you don't love him, you gotta teach him a lesson so that he can grow and he can be a better man, right? It's the same with us. We getting that accent, we getting that chastisement so we can grow and be a better nation, a mighty nation above everybody. Read.
Deuteronomy 28 in verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So our Heavenly Father said, hey, but if you don't listen to me, I'm going to tell you right now what's about to happen, right? Read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All these what?
That all these curses that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
He said, listen, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to place curses on you and your nation. Right? Let's read something. Give me the very next verse.
Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
He said, listen, when you in the city, you're going to be cursed. When you in the field, you're going to be cursed. Right? Where you go, you're going to be cursed. We're in the city right now, man. We're in the city right now. Our people is definitely cursed in the city. When you look in the old days, right, in the fields, what we was doing in the fields, man, was picking cotton. We was picking cotton, getting our backs broken in, right? Not just us, but again, our Hispanic brothers and our Native American brothers. They was doing it to them before they did it to the so-called black man. A lot of people don't know that, right? Give me verse 54. Yeah, give me 28.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28.
Yeah.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of the heart.
And astonishment of the heart, man. These are curses placed on people, right? Give me a proverb by word before you get 54.
Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Now he said, hey, one of the curses is we're gonna be an astonishment, right? Who the most famous athletes in the world? They are people. You got your LeBron James, you got your Mike Vicks, right? You got your Kevin Hart's, he a comedian. You know, you got your Dwayne Johnsons, right? All these prominent people, they're astonished that we can shoot a basketball how we shoot. That we can be as funny as we are, right? As athletic as we are, right? It says we're gonna be a byword, right? We got all types of names on us, man. They call us everything in the book except who we really are. Bywords, they got proverbs, right? How many proverbs they got on the black man, right? They say, well, go to the house on the black man, put it in the book, right? They say how many Mexicans can fit in the car. Right? All these different things are placed on our people. Why? Because it's a curse, right? But it also tells you, when it says you want to have a byword on you, they're not going to call us by our real name. They're not going to call us the true sons of God. They're not going to do that, right? Give me 54.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 54, and it reads, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother.
One of the curses is, man, we're going to have an evil eye towards each other, right? When before we was delicate towards each other, right? We seen a complete stranger, like, hey, man, what's going on, man? You doing good? What's your name, brother? Now, hey, listen, you bump somebody the wrong way, you looking like, bro, watch out. You reaching for the pistol. You know what I'm saying? You about to kill somebody that look just like you, right? Read.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
And towards the wife of our bosom, right? Bitch, you ain't shit, right? That's why we treat our women like shit. All we want to do is just have sex with them and leave. That's it. That's all our men want to do with our women is slap their ass, have sex with them, and leave and dip. They don't want to take care of them. They don't care about their mental state. They don't care about what's going on in their life. They don't care at all. They just want a piece of ass. That's it, right? It didn't used to be that way. Read.
And toward the remnant of his children.
And he said, and towards your children. Let's see what the curse gonna be on a man and his children, right? Read.
Which he shall lead.
Which he shall what?
Which he shall lead.
Let's read that again.
It says, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall lead.
Which he shall lead, man. which he shall lead. One of the curses in the Bible is that the men are going to leave their children. That's almost self-explanatory, man. That's happening now, right? But this wasn't placed on everybody, right? Give me the last one, 68.
This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28
Let you go.
and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
With ships, man. You familiar with the story of Egypt and Exodus and all that? What was going on in Egypt? But what was before that though? Why did they have to get brought out and taken to the promised land? What was going on in Egypt? Famous phrase, let my people go.
Right. Pharaoh and all that.
Hold on, what's his trade, man?
Pharaoh was killing his own people.
Huh?
Pharaoh was killing his own people.
You said Pharaoh was killing his own people? No, Pharaoh wasn't killing his own people. Pharaoh was killing us.
Right.
Pharaoh was killing the Hebrews, the Shatsu people when you go into history, right? That's who he was killing. He was killing the Moses' people. That's why Moses had to come and say, hey, let my people go, right? Who got that Exodus 20? Yeah, read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Out of the house of bondage. So when we was in Egypt, we was in bondage, man. We was in chains, we was slaves, right? That's what was going on up in Egypt. If I'm gonna give you something a little bit more plain, right? A little bit more plain. Give me Judith 5 and 11. Judith 5 and 11, somebody. It's gonna tell you explicitly what was going on in Egypt, right? Because the Most High said he's gonna send us back to Egypt. We're going back to Egypt. So we gotta understand what was going on in Egypt for us to understand, okay, why are you sending us back? What was so bad about Egypt? What was going on? Judah 5 and 11.
It's the book of Judah, chapter 5 and verse 11.
Yeah.
Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them and dwelt subtilly with them and brought them low with laboring in brick and made them slaves.
Made them what?
And made them slaves.
So in Egypt, the Israelites were slaves, right? We were slaves in Egypt. Go back to Deuteronomy 28. We were slaves in Egypt. Most I said, I'm gonna send you back to Egypt. I'm gonna send you back to that house of bondage. I'm gonna send you back to slavery, right? But how? How he's gonna do it? Read.
He says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again
I'm gonna send you back into bondage, back into slavery again. With what?
with ships.
With what?
With ships.
With ships this time. He said, I'm gonna send you into slavery by ships, right? Keep reading.
It says, by the way whereof I spake unto thee.
So exactly how I'm telling you is how you gonna go. You're gonna go back into slavery by ships. You're gonna go back into bondage by ships, right? Read.
Thou shalt see it no more again.
So he's saying, listen, you ain't gonna, the other captivities, this is gonna be different. It's gonna be a completely new captivity. It's gonna be something like you've never seen. Read.
And there you shall be sold unto your enemies.
Shall be what?
There you shall be sold unto your enemies.
We shall be sold unto our enemies. Read.
For bondmen
For bondmen, slave men,
and bondwomen.
and bondwomen, slave woman.
And no man shall buy you.
And no man is gonna redeem you. When you go into that word, into the original Hebrew, it means to redeem. That's why when you look at your Malcolm X's, it fell. When you look at your Martin Luther Kings, it fell. When you look at your Fred Hamptons, it fell. When you look at all these prominent black leaders and you get traction going, what happens? It fails. Why? Because the Bible says, the Most High said, no man is gonna save you. No man is gonna redeem you. No man is gonna buy you back from the hands of your enemy. I'm gonna do it. The Most High said, I'm gonna do it. Nobody else, right? So you gotta understand this to understand how do we get out, right? Give me Deuteronomy 30. You gotta understand how do we get out of this, man. And that's the whole reason why you see us in the cold, right? Man, look, it's what, Wednesday? I could be doing a lot of things right now, brother. What? You feel me? A lot of other things right now, man. But right now, where I wanna be is sitting right here speaking to you, man. And this is why, read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse.
So we read how if we listen, if we obey, he's gonna put us on high. There was a point in time where we actually was obeying him. And we was on high. King David, Solomon, All of that, brother, that was us. That was all of us together. That was so-called Hispanics together with us. That was so-called Native Americans together with us. So-called black people together with us. We was in our homeland. We had to deal with the white folks. We had to deal with nobody coming over, breaking our backs in. We had to deal with none of that, right? Read.
It says, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations.
And that right there is why we standing here. We calling to mind among all nations, right? You got brothers doing exactly what we're doing all throughout the globe, man. All throughout the globe. There's millions of us out here, man. We calling to mind, listen, these are the blessings that we did back in the day, but here are the curses now, right? He said when all these things start to happen, when you see people on the corners trying to remember and try to bring back to your remembrance the laws of God, right? Read.
Whether the Lord thy God have driven thee,
That's everywhere. He's driven us everywhere. Read.
and shall return unto the Lord thy God,
Shall do what?
and shall return unto the Lord thy God,
That's key. And shall return unto the Lord your God, right? By doing what? Being obedient, doing what he actually told you to do. Read.
and shall obey his voice,
And there it goes, man. Obey, and shall obey his voice. Read.
according to all that I command thee this day,
Everything that he told us to do, we gotta obey that, right? Read.
thou and thy children.
But not just us and our children. Us and our children. Most I say, listen, you gotta remember who you are. You gotta bring to mind everything that's happened to you, and then you have to obey you and your children. Read.
With all thine heart and with all thy soul.
So you can't bullshit with it either, man. You gotta actually be sincere. Like, listen, I'm tired of my conditions. I'm tired of it, man. All people has tried everything. We marched. We took up arms. We protested. Hell, we even assimilated into their society. We tried all that, man. And guess what? The hood is still the goddamn hood, man. It's still the hood. Nothing has worked for us, man. We in church every fucking week, every Sunday. But what we not doing in church, we not reading this, man. We not reading this book. We just listening to the pastor, man. Now, let me finish this out for you. I'm just gonna finish it out. Go ahead.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Yep.
That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity
That's when he's gonna save us, right? Read.
and have compassion upon thee,
Uh-huh.
and will return and gather thee from all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee.
And that's what we're waiting on. One last one. You ain't got to preach it. Read.
It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 28.
Uh-huh.
For as it was your mind to go stray from God, so being returned, seek him 10 times more.
You gotta seek him 10 times more, man. Go ahead.
For he that brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation.
The same God who put us in this predicament, the same God who will redeem us out and give us things beyond our imaginations, right? So listen, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna say this. Hey, listen. I'll make it very simple. I'll make it very, very simple.
I'll
for
break
you,
it
right?
down. I got the
No,
brush.
I got you. Y'all, boy, you brought some flyers?
Yeah, he got mine.
Come.
Is them for Northern Kingdom? I only got a couple.
No, they good.
They good?
Oh, man, just show my people.
Just remember this, man. Remember this. You gotta keep the commandments, right? Because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, man.
That's right.
It's at hand.
All right.
And the
Thank you,
faith
my
of Christ,
brother.
man.
Y'all be safe, man.
All
keep
praises.
y'all in y'all
All
prayers.
praises. All praises.
Alright, brother. Alright.
Hey, man, that's what we out there. That's what we out there. So I guess, once again, man, all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God, man. And how about Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shah? Say Shalom.
Shalom.